For English subtitles, press the subtitle button. Hello to a new episode of ReptilTV. And my intro animal today is even fitting to the topic. So if you've noticed, I actually rarely do this. I always try to bring a little something different for the intro animal, so there's something for everyone, so to speak. But today it fits the topic. This here is the semi-black. I have shown it to you before. This is an animal that I bought in Africa along with 4 to 5 siblings. It has developed wonderfully and is still at least as black as it was as a baby. I think that's great. For this year, she is still too small for breeding. She is a female, but next year she will definitely go into breeding. And I am curious to see if we can create any new black line based on these semi-black African animals. I am really looking forward to that. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I think a black king python is simply beautiful. You might remember the last ballroom news, if you are here. Let's see. Everything has changed a bit. For years or even decades, I always used incubators. The room here is around 30 or over 30 degrees. Last year, I had an incident where an incubator, which was probably already old, overheated twice, and the eggs got ruined due to the overheating. Then I thought, well, I actually don't need to plug in the incubator because the room itself is warm, and the higher we go on the shelf, the warmer it gets. I measured, and up there it was 31, 32 degrees. And that's when the idea came to me. You might say, how silly are you to have this idea only years later? But the room itself is warm enough, and you don't actually need incubators. That's why we now have this new method with these incubators. These are 15 liters in a box in terms of volume. We put one clutch in each, write down what kind of clutch it is, and then it's perfect. We also have less work with it. When we had the eggs, remember the old episodes, we had to label the eggs like terrarium number 28B or something. We had to take everything, write it on a note, stick it on, and put the eggs in there. And then we have the babies hatching. In this case, we have a Blue Eye Lucy clutch. We can see that the pairing was a super lesser with lesser Mojave, super lesser times lesser Mojave. So we have a lot of super lessers here. Lesser Mojave. You should be able to recognize the Mojave later as well. When the Mojave is involved, they always get a slightly darker tail base and at the head. So we have that perfect. We continue to put vermiculite on it. I can show you a new box where a fresh clutch is in. Let's see what I have here. Not exactly the most elegant clutch to carry around. This is what it looks like. We put these trays in there, and then the eggs can lie dry directly on these plastic trays in the warm environment with the lid on. If you're wondering what this hole is for, it's not intentional. In that sense, we just have a hole from this hole here. We had an incredible number of these boxes that we used as hiding spots or moss boxes in the past. We made a hole in them and added moss, which is why they were called moss boxes. So we have plenty of these with lids and holes. We don't want to throw them away. That's why we need to put this plastic wrap in here so that the babies don't get out of the boxes. We have seen the clutch here. There is a second one. Hatching. Enchi Pastel X Stranger. Head. Pied. Enchi Pastel X Stranger Head. Pied. This is an exciting moment as we witness the emergence of these beautiful creatures. The Enchi Pastel and Stranger Head Pied combination is truly remarkable. Or rather Mojave Stranger. It must definitely be the Mojave Stranger, because there is Mojave everywhere here. So Enchi Pastel crossed with Mojave Stranger. Enchi Pastel crossed with Mojave Stranger. You can see the Enchi through it. Nothing overly spectacular, although Stranger is still a nice thing. I was hoping for today. Here we have Axanthic head clown crossed with clown head axanthic. So axanthic clown babies should come out. Unfortunately, all the eggs are still too cautious to look at, but everything is still too early. Maybe we can also add some pictures of an axanthic clown that should hatch in the next 2 to 3 days. I was actually hoping for today. You can also see how the eggs are lying. At the end they sink in a bit when they are about to pip. In 2 to 3 days the first babies will be peeking their heads out. We are at the very beginning of the breeding. Here is clutch number 18. Here it was 16. So that means 15 clutches have hatched. That's still nothing. At the moment we are at clutch number 62. I expect that in total there will definitely be around 200 clutches again. So at least 140 more clutches need to come for us to be satisfied. There are interesting things involved. Well, here I see something with head sunset crossed with double head sunset bite. Here again is sunset pie. We tried quite a bit this year. Pinhead sunset, here highway, which is also a really great thing. I'm totally excited about it. Where do we have this Africa Ott? I showed you this last year. This is a male that we got from Africa. I'm curious to see if he passes on any co-dominant traits or how he breeds. We have 2 to 3 other clutches with this male, which should already be laid. I think exciting things will come again. Now let's look at some nice ones from the first babies. And this will be our ballroom news episode this time. We have the first few babies here. We will also show you pictures after shedding in parallel. We need to film those again in a few days, and we will always show you those filmed pictures alongside the animal, because if I show you the animal during shedding, everyone will think, oh, that's nothing, you can't see anything. Here we have a clown bongo pinstripe, clown bongo pinstripe. You know that we always do quite a bit with clown and bongo. The pinstripe is also included, and I think it turned out really well when we look at the side pattern or this contrast in the flanks. Definitely a nice thing for this year. Then, of course, as every year, we also have quite a bit with gravel, super stripe, yellow belly made with this complex. Here we have a Specter gravel pastel. It looks similar to a super stripe, but I think the Specter is involved, not the yellow belly. The whole thing is combined with pastel. A beautiful thing also. Nothing new where someone would say, oh, I've never seen that before. But still a spectacular combo with great colors and patterns. Really nice head pattern. I think it turned out very well. Then something relatively simple, just to show that you can make beautiful things with few ingredients. This is Bongo, Woma, a really nice clear pattern. Nice white included, these brown-black shades. The typical dark Bongo head. As I said, 2 simple, relatively inexpensive ingredients, and such a beautiful result. This is again the same, or almost the same Bongo Woma, but in this case, cinnamon is also included. Again, the typical dark, solid head. These light flanks come from the combination with cinnamon. Cinnamon with Bongo creates these light flanks, and the Woma simply brings in the beautiful color. Then it has these beautiful eye spots on the side, these faces or whatever you want to call them. I also find that a great thing, and just like the predecessor, 3 relatively inexpensive ingredients, cinnamon, Bongo, and Woma, and such a beautiful result comes out of it. We also have something that has existed for years, but that doesn't take away from its beauty. This is clown with bananas, and maybe pastel is also included, but in this case it's not so easy to say. But I believe pastel is also involved, clown banana pastel. Again, nothing completely new, nothing that has been seen often, but in my opinion, one of the most beautiful, at least in the banana coral glow area, one of the most beautiful combos you can make with it. And what must not be missing in a successful season is, of course, a sunset. We were also lucky this year with a clutch. It was also made with hetero, and in this case, it is even possible piebald. So sunset possible, that's of course a great thing. Maybe something we will keep as a holdback and see if we can breed a sunset piebald in the coming years. So again, the note, due to shedding, you can hardly see anything of the sunset. And that's why the overlay shows what it looks like after shedding. If we had filmed it a week later, it would have been easier for us. But we can provide the pictures later, that's no problem. And with sunset as a conclusion, you can never go wrong. Those were the ball python news for this year. No, not just yet. Those were the first ball python news relatively early in the season. So as I said here, with shedding and so on, we will definitely do a second episode this year where we have much more to show and also won't have the problems with shedding. Write down below what you found most exciting so far from what I showed you, or from what is just hatching out of the eggs. I'm curious about your feedback. Oops, now you're even biting me. What is particularly hip or trendy from your perspective this year? I look forward to your comments. I will check them out. Ball pythons are exactly my thing, you know that. I enjoy a bit of small talk with you in the comments, and otherwise stay loyal to me and check my balls.